All right, folks. Figure I'll take this opportunity to introduce to you the second LP tractor on the farm. Yes, the first one was red, but it was just kind of luck of the draw, so, you know, is what it is. Anyhow, this tractor here is a 69 4020 synchro range LP, dual remote. Of course, has differential lock and all the other standard, standard equipped features on a 4020. It's got one set of mismatched rear wheel weights. It had the starters and 2, 4, 6 pads, and they're all foundry weights. All of these weights are probably going to see quite a bit of time with a grinder, because they're well, they leave a little bit to be desired when it comes to smoothness. We'll just say it that way. Yeah, as you can see, the paint on it is not great, and it's got these cheap side badges. Don't like that, but it is what it is. It was I think it was probably prettied up for a quick sale. Near as we can figure, what happened is either after this metal was cleaned, it was either A, cold and wet, had some moisture in it, or B, the primer they used was not an etching primer and it did not stick well to the metal. Crap. Try and get a flake here of it in my hand. As you can see, the gray on the back of it, focus. The gray on the back of the paint, I mean, it's showing that basically what happened is the paint stuck to the primer, but the primer didn't stick to the metal. Yeah. Because, I mean, you can look around and see it's flaking off all over the place. And Dad kind of thinks that it was, cool and moist when the primer went down, and I'll go along with that theory. But it's not original paint, so therefore we don't feel bad whatsoever when it comes to redoing it, and it's going to get redone. And it has already been put to work. Dad and I went after this tractor Sunday. Went and picked it up in Decatur, Indiana. We met with all the... I believe this tractor came out of Wisconsin. It was where Dad bought it, and then just kind of through one deal and the other, we met with the guy that was hauling it, or made arrangements with the guy hauling it, and he brought it to. He lived in somewhere in Indiana, I think, and then we made arrangements to just meet up in Decatur. The reason we picked Decatur is from here it's just straight up Route 33, and for him it was pretty well right down 27. Kind of another neat little side note about Decatur, Indiana, and also the place that we met and swapped trailers under this tractor was at Paul Reidenbach Equipment. And there's a little bit of family history with Paul Reidenbach Equipment, and that is where the first 4010 we owned came from. That 4010 was Old John, and one of these days I'm going to try and see if Dad would sit down with me, and we'll get the camera going and tell the story of Old John. Because if any of you guys watching like story time sort of stuff, you'll enjoy it. Trust me. The story behind this tractor, the story behind Old John, not this tractor, behind Old John, the first 4010 we owned. I will do a video at some point on operating an LP tractor. It's not really all that much different than any gas or diesel tractor, but you know, the biggest difference is them two valves right there. The one on your right is the vapor withdrawal, and the one on the left is the liquid withdrawal. And on this tractor, the liquid valve leaks unless it's wide open. I'll try and see if you can hear it. Maybe not. I don't know if you can hear it hissing or not. There. And that's trying to close it. If I go clear against the seat to close it, it leaks really bad. The basics of these tractors is when you go to start them, you'll open up the vapor valve all the way. And then you'll start it and let it run, let it warm up a little bit, and then open the liquid valve. And it runs through a converter or a regulator that's got engine coolant running through it to warm it up and vaporize it. And from there it goes to the carburetor. When we picked the tractor up, it wanted to idle at about 1200 RPM. Come to find out that the throttle linkage was sticky, and Dad's already had all that opened up and been working on it and got it freed up and limbered up. Let's just make her make some noise, shall we? Now, because we can't close the liquid valve, the way we shut this tractor down isn't exactly correct for typical operation. By the book, what you're supposed to do is close off the liquid valve and basically just let it burn itself out and then turn the key off. Kind of like what you saw me doing with the 450 Farmall, but I'm just running that tractor straight off of vapor. But yeah, you're supposed to close off the LP valves and just let it burn out. This one, I tested the lock solenoid as it was running. I unplugged it, and after a few seconds it burned out and shut off. So that tells me that the lock solenoid is working, so there at least is some measure of safety there. Because, you know, if you've got an LP leak, you know, with it being a flammable vapor, that could get interesting. But see, what I just don't understand is so many people are afraid of LP burners, and to me there's no reason to be. You know, it's a little bit different handling method, yes, and the equipment needed to handle it is, you know, it's different. It's kind of specialized stuff, but I mean, really, it's, in my eyes, it's just as safe as gasoline. But that's another topic for another time, I think. But that's basically all I've got right now. We're gonna we'll try and figure out what that liquid withdrawal valve needs in order to fix it. But before we can take the valve out, we're gonna have to use it a good little bit because she's plumb full. Well, 85%. Yeah, that's the reason why these LP tanks on these tractors are so much bigger than the liquid gasoline or diesel fuel tanks, because you've got to give LP some room to expand with temperature changes. So the liquid level in these tanks can't be more than either 80 or 85% full, just to allow that vapor room in the tank. But anyhow, there it is. This being a 69, I can't remember if it was 69 or 70 was the year that the most late model LPs were built. I believe this tractor is one of 691 total late model 4020 LPs built out of close to 16,000, I think. No, that's not right. That's not right. Tell you what, another one of these videos, I'll get out Thinker's Almanac and we'll go over it, because by the ratio and the proportions, this late model 4020 LP is rarer than that 4000 gas. And there were 256 gas 4000s built. So anyhow, I think that pretty well covers the new tractor. Neighbor of ours and kind of a relative down the road a ways, he handled propane and LP equipment for a lot of years and had some stuff squirreled away, and he's got a pump and a meter that he's allowing us to use on, I'm not sure what kind of terms him and Dad worked out, but that we've got the filling equipment we need, except for some hoses. We need the hoses and the ends to fill these tanks, but we've got the pump and we've got the pump and the meter, so that's a good portion of it right there in being able to fill these. The hoses and the fittings, I guess, ain't too hard to get a hold of. And just in case you're wondering, on these John Deere new gens, there are your LP fill and return. That's it. And then this top one up here is the what I hear them call the spitter. And just like it says on that plate there, it says stop filling when liquid appears. There. And that's exactly what it's for. You crack this valve open just a little bit, and there's a little hole out the side of it. You might have seen it there. Yeah, it's close to full still. But yeah, with this tractor and the Farmall, I'm kind of learning all this new stuff on the LP side of things, and it's fascinating. It's really cool how sweet and how smooth these LP burners run. And you know, of course, I mean, when you're running it, honest to God, it smells like you're running a propane barbecue grill. I mean, Hank Hill would be proud. Hank Hill and Buck Strickland. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm really surprised that on one of these John Deere new gens, no one has ever painted Hank Hill's face on that tank. I mean, can you see it? You see it? Yeah, me too. But, I mean, why would you want to put such a face on such a tractor? I don't know. Alright, well, just like most of my videos, I have rambled on for way too long. So I'm going to shut up, leave you with this view of the tractor, and hopefully here before too much longer I'll be able to get you some footage of it working. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I just shot the video on this tractor, and there's something I need to address before someone makes a comment about it. Hopefully you watch this all the way through and see this part of it. But when I started it, as I was cranking it, there was kind of a god-awful squealing noise that came from it. What that was nothing more than so the 3-point on this leaks off just a little bit. Not much, just a very, very little bit. And as I was cranking it, it started charging up the hydraulic pump, and when it did, it went to pick the 3-point up just enough to get it back to its, you know, its balance point, basically. Most other tractors wouldn't really notice that, wouldn't really care. But with this one having the roll bar and canopy on it, any of you that have ever run a tractor with a roll bar and canopy and no sound insulation can attest to how much they amplify any noise that comes from the rear end. And that's exactly what was going on. Just, you know, hydraulic valves bypassing, closing off, doing their thing, and all of that noise transmitting up through the roll bar into the canopy and making a god-awful sound. So not really anything to be concerned about, just something that I thought should be addressed, because I'm sure it will be mentioned. So anyhow, again, thanks for watching, and I'm done for real this time, I promise. See you again soon.